Just where inside their camera. This record easy because they're full of banter. I might be cancelled. Hi everyone. My name is Dennis. Actually, that's the government name. But most people know me as Tintseh. I'm a Nairobi creative photographer and director. With a passion for capturing daily life through my own perspectives. So, yeah, that's who I am. And what else can I say? I enjoy the pockets of creation that comes with whatever we do in the city every day. So yeah, former dancer, former b-boy. Gym for me, at times when I get a chance to play football with the boys, which I haven't done in a minute because of an injury I had. And cycling. I just enjoy getting my bicycle and just cycling around. Yeah. Risk taker. Because as I grow in the industry and also in life in general, I've realized you have to take the step. And sometimes I'm given assignments that I'm not even sure about, that maybe may appear like bigger than I'd expect. But for some reason I have this, okay, let's go. It's fine. If we fail, it's fine. But that has not been the case for the longest, of course, as a creative. But right now, the personality that I think I'm starting to realize is a common trend of what I do, I'd say the risk taker. Yeah. I started dance in 2009. It was a church group. But we did sakata and all that until 2015. That's when I was like officially done. I was like, okay, now I have to hang the boots. I used to be a b-boy, and actually from dance is where my photography career started. Yeah. Well, in one of those dance events, there's this photographer. Should I mention names? He's called Kevin. So Kevin had this camera and he was already an OG in documentary. He used to come to our church. So one day Kevin tells me, hold it. I hold the camera and I'm now curious with it. I'm like, okay, interesting. And at that same time, there was another guy called Arnold Anili. So Kevin somehow was teaching Anili because Anili had already gotten into it. So Arnold took me way under his wings than Kevin because Kevin was busy. So one day I was just at an event, a dance event. He gave me a camera to hold. And that's how I took a few pictures and came back. He was like, you took this? I'm like, yeah, like these are interesting. And I was like, okay, I like this. So the following Sunday, I met him in church again. Okay, can I borrow your camera? I take a portrait of so. That way, Arnold started calling me for his shoots. My first shoot was in Arboretum as an assistant, and we were shooting a police officer. I'll never forget. Yeah, so that's how I think. So from me being curious, I always say my photography journey came out of me pressing the curiosity button. Like, what does this button do? And that's how I got there. That's how even I learned the camera. Yeah. The major difference, I think, would be one with personalities. You'd expect introverts or introverted extroverts, per se. Don't take the camera side, being behind the camera, which is what I enjoy nowadays. But for the dancers, they're very out there. They have the confidence to be on stage. They're used to big crowds, you know. They're not easily intimidated by the numbers of people out there. And they know how to do the game face on. So I think for me also that was a good start because I'm not very social active. I'm very active with people talking, but I know for sure deep down it's a battery that can just die any moment as a function. And that's why I use the camera as a getaway.
Are there any similarities in between the two?
Yeah, I think one, they all borrow from the urban, and photography borrows a lot from urban lifestyles and urban culture. Dance does the same. There's motion, and I feel like when you go to photography side and video, that's motion, and these guys are doing now motion with their bodies. I think also the consistency of you having to do it for so long for you to be good at it, both ways. both ways, in the production, photography-wise, or as a dancer, you have to practice. So those are some of the similarities I think I'd pick. Also, I'd say what? I feel like both really need commitment. Like you have to show up for both. Yeah, you have to show up. Working with Anili, who's now the guy who I shot with a lot, he moved from Kenya. After almost like 6 months, thereabout or plus, is when now he would, actually 3 months actually, just to be sure. Yeah, 3 months. Because I remember he would now tell me, take this, you know. We're in the middle of a shoot, but you could see him giving me the camera to try now, like, and he'd tell me, don't use my settings. You get? So you have to balance it. That's how I learned manual. So, but after that, after a year, 2013, I got a job, which now entailed me to be a printing officer at a university. But they needed pictures for that work, for the in-house intercoms, you know, all those. And so I had to be the one to take the pictures because I was already now in it, you know. I was enjoying this. So we used to go for games. I'd carry the office camera. It was a Canon 600D, which is actually played a very big role to when I was buying my first camera, because I think I went for T3i because now I was used to that series of the 600s. And then after some time now at that university, guys, it's long down. I started taking the camera with me on the low, you know, like over the weekends. Let's say the games were at Nyayo mostly, so on Friday I'd go shoot, but I wouldn't take the camera back. I'd return it on Monday, so I'd have a camera with me. But then I'd go back to do now my own personal shoots, because I had started getting small bookings, you know. After a year and a half there, but I started getting small bookings for 1,000. I remember my major highlight booking was what, 3,000 Kenya shillings, and it was at Caramel. I'll never forget. And so, you know, after I shoot, you want to grab some water. I went and bought a bottle of water, and I gave 1,000 bob because I was paid in cash, and I had hired the camera also, so I had to pay like 1,000 shillings to the personnel I had from. So I went and bought water at the counter, and I was so thirsty, so I just opened it. It was this glass bottle of Aqua Mist, and this guy gave me 50 shillings, and I froze. I was like, dude, water is 950. He's like, yeah. Mind you, I've opened it, so I can't return it. So I remember I walked around with the bottle. He was like, oh yeah, you have to return the bottle. I was like, hell no, I'm not returning it. So I walked around, and then I left. So I left with the bottle, and I took it to the house, and I said, when I make it, I'm buying this water in a box. That's one of the highlight stories ever when I was starting to shoot. And actually it was very demoralizing, because I was like, do I really want to do this? But over time now, I started getting more small bookings, you know, 1,500, 2,000 shillings, 5,000. The first time I clicked 10K on a booking, I think that's when I was like, I can do this. Yeah. But also the journey for me, the first few years, because I didn't have my own camera, was very much helped. I was helped by a lot of the photographers who were coming up then, like the group that now we were shooting with. And they would allow you to shoot, you know, you'd exchange. They'd tell you, here's the lens, try use it here, you know. Somebody like Mutua Madeka was very key on helping us grow out there in the streets. So shout out. Yeah. It took time to be behind the camera. As an assistant, I did it for almost 2.5 years. Yeah. It was a Canon 600D with an 18 to 55 millimeter lens, ST as we call it. And I received it while I was in town that night, because we were shooting something on Friday nights with the photographers. And it was at Wambera Street. That's why I unboxed it. I was so excited because it was a joint group work by 2 of my friends who helped me purchase it. So I was so excited to shoot, you know, like I have now my own camera in town, rude boy, you can't tell me nothing. This is my gear. And I had this small tripod that honestly, I don't even know how it was holding that camera. It's just God's grace. But yeah, and then I bought a 50mm, the 1.8, which was now, at that time, was the cake of lenses. If you had that, you could shoot at night comfortably. Until one day when I was using that lens, again, it's a cheap lens. Ilifunguka nikishoot, so ikaanguka mbele. Like, you see how an eyelid would fall off? That's how I just did. The motor just knocked and the lens, I just saw wires inside. I was like, oh, damn. And then over time, of course. Yeah, that was my first camera. Can I remember the first picture I took? The first picture I took of as a photographer that I now did a watermark on was actually bottle tops. Pekele. I had danced been at the church where we were dancing, so I just found them there. I was like, oh, this looks so good. There's a friend of mine, MC Kibunja. He always calls me Mr. Pekele because I showed him the picture. I was like, bro, look at this. Because we used to dance with him together also back in the days. Like, look at this. He's like, oh, wow, this is so cool. Oh, how did you make the bottle tops look so cool, Because I remember it was on a Sunday, and it was after that Friday when I got the camera. That Saturday, I think we had a dance rehearsal. So everything was just working. So I had it with me, We even tried doing a photo shoot for ourselves, which was terrible. But it was fun back then. And then I think after the Pekeles now, because now I had my own camera, I would shoot flowers, But before that, I used to shoot with a phone, an LG P9. Because I remember I used to borrow cameras. So if I didn't get a chance, I'd take my pictures with an LG P9. My favorite picture was a guy reading a newspaper at Uhuru Park. And it was something about governors. Yeah. Travel photography, it's mostly from a POV. As the photographer, you have to immerse yourself as a traveler. For wildlife, I'd say how I see it done is mostly portraiture of animals in their element. But for travel, at times you can include human beings in the aspect. But you see, once, let's say you're taking a picture of a cheetah, and I take a picture of you doing that, that's more like a travel picture. But if I just solely focus on the cheetah in its environment and zoom in, that's why you see with wildlife, you'll get those close-up portraits and all that. Yeah, that's not travel. That's wildlife and nature. I started with street urban photography, and then as I was growing, I met artists. One of them being Savara. That's how I ended up joining South Soul. It's another story. Like their photographer, not joining them as an artist, but as their photographer. I met Rosa. Rosa was the first artist I had shot, so I had already seen the dynamics of a studio setting. And I remember that was the era we used to see Wizkid with the headphones, And I was like, I want to take such pictures, man. They're so cool. Then I transitioned now from events. I went to fashion and beauty, which I did for some time. I still do it. 2017 got the Kenya Photographers Fashion Award, 2017. That was my last type of any awards that I wanted to apply for. Because the pressure doing that was already enough for me getting people to vote. How I got into travel was through I shoot lifestyle. That's how I put it. I shoot lifestyle. So, and travel is part of the lifestyle that people do, So I started with my own, like I used to travel with the Sauti Sol when we were doing their tours. And at times I would shoot even my own stuff, out there. And I got a passion for that too. So I was like, okay. But now under my belt, I feel like I shoot a lot of different things. So, but the main one that I always go back to is urban photography and portraiture. Because I feel like the moment I tapped into those, I was able to bring in all the other elements and maybe styles of photography into that bracket. Like I remember when I was shooting events, I started with focusing on portraiture in events. So you see how the two relate. It's events, but I was trying to do the portraiture aspect of it to get the stories. Same with the urban, and so yeah. I toured with Malik Berry. Who else did I tour with? Ali Kiba, but not like a tour, but I used to be his photographer, like when he used to come to Kenya. Mikasa, because when they used to come to Kenya, I was like their photographer. Wizkid. So those are not like tours, but they were like artists, like some of the big artists I knew I was working with directly. Who else did I work with directly? Ijidena, when he was in Kenya. Sometimes it was more like you being with the artist for the period they're here. If they're here for 4 days, you're with them for 4 days. Because I remember like Ty Dolla, we did 2 days with him in Kenya. That's it. But for tour, South Soul, all the boys. Yeah. I feel like I started the world before I came to studio. That's why up to date, I think I enjoy outdoor photography a lot. But when I got to studio at first, I didn't know how to light. So I remember at Bishop Magua, there was a studio I used to go to. It was run by a photographer called, what's his name? Can't remember his name, it'll come. I had it just before I started it. So I went to Bishop Magua, there was a snow something studio there. So I used to go there for practice. The photographer who used to be there was called Morage. So Morage also he was doing commercial by then, back in the days. So he used to tell us, this is how you like this, what you do. So I remember when I started earning, I'd pay like 1,500. I'd book for a personal project in the studio just to try practice. And then also it wasn't very fun for me, honestly. So I used to do that, then plan another shoot outside. But over time now, because of commercial work, product, I now started learning lighting in studio and outdoor, and now, yeah. Sauti was my major client, and it was very funny because I was at an art gallery when I met Savara, and I told him, oh, I'd love to shoot for you guys. I'm an upcoming photographer. I took a bad picture of him to the standards now, and he told me, send it to me, and I sent it. And he told me, I gave him my number. So Kumbe went and gave Anyiko the number also. So sometime towards the end of the same year, I get a call. They were calling Dennis. Remember, Tintseh wasn't active then. Tintseh wasn't like a nickname out there, but I had already formed the name because it came from my downside. So I get a call, hi Dennis, you're looking for a photographer for this weekend. Are you available? I was at the office. Remember, I used to do the 8 to 5. As a printing officer, I was in Ruiru, but I used to live in Satellite. It was quite a task. And I said, yes, I'll do the first one for free, you know? Only to find out that Anyiko was calling a different Dennis later on. But that's how I got to the team. So I went and did the first shoot, second shoot, and then we picked up. Yeah, so Sauti was my first major client that really catapulted a lot of the career in terms of photography for me. Because now Sauti literally introduced me to the events world fully now. Because I'd see how events move. When we came up with the picture, the one that they always do the sign, it's because I was short. And BN used to stand and tower everyone. So I was like, guys, for us to see the fans, we came up with it at Alchemist. Back then, Alchemist had this step. So I went and stood on the step, and I remember I told them, turn, and the selfie craze was on back then. That was like 2016, there about now. I told him, turn, 15, 16. I told him, turn, ndio tuone mkino mikono juu, like you're taking a selfie with the fans. That's how we made that signature shot. Because before that, every show we were doing, they were like, we need to see the fans, we need to see the fans. Like, how do I see the fans? I'm short. If I stand behind you, I won't see the fans myself. So I had to come up with a creative way and tell the guys, kneel, turn. That's how we got the shot. So yeah, Sauti was my major client. See this melanin. So as a dancer, we were two Dennis. One was called Brown, Dennis Bahati Brown. So I remember one day, Sammy, we were at a dance. We were going for a dance at ICC Chapel. Was it called Mamlaka Chapel? Yes, Kapa Mombasa Road. So we outside there. Papasan was in Kenya back then, an artist. So Sammy says, they know. And we both turn. He says, I work on a tint. So everyone burst out laughing. And so as we were entering, it was like, tint. You know, it started picking. Backstage now, one day, this artist was like, what's your name? I said, Tint. He said, Tint? Say? So he's like telling me to say tint again, you know. I had tints. I was like, that's interesting. A friend of ours was called Marwa. He was a DJ. He was into dancehall, you know. He's the guy who we used to know, ding dong, wakitoa music. He's the one to catch the moves, you know, and then come teach us. It's like, yeah, Tintseh just picked up. And I remember I went back to now that weekend and Joshua, nowadays it's called Oshino. He was like, bro, open an Instagram with the photography, write it. And look at two Tintseh, because I was like, I can't write Dennis. I said, write tint. So it started with Tint. Actually, people who know me from way back dance career, they call me Tint. That's how I at times differentiate. I'm like, how do you know me? If you call me Tint, I know you know. If you call me Dennis, you know too much. You know too much. If you call me by my high school name, now I'll call you to the side, you know? But Tintseh, my name sounded good also. Like, I was like, you know what? So even my other Instagram account, not the current one, that's the name. That's when I picked. Because now it's Sauti. And now you see I was working with Sauti Soul. So it felt like having an artist name also was cool. You know, not your own name. So I was like, yeah, Tintseh. Yeah. So Tintseh came out. I think for me, it's the emotional aspect of stories that the storyteller, maybe me or the subject I'm shooting with, what they exhume. Because at times I feel like for a story to be powerful to me, I need to resonate with it. I need to connect in some way with the story, you know? So it may be something that maybe my subject has gone through or they're saying, and it doesn't have to be something sad, even happiness. You know, they can just be telling you about something exciting that happened and it brightens you up. So for me, storytelling, I'd say, is if I'm able to connect with my subject or my viewers, now in this case, the people who consume my art and my photography, then I don't need to write a big caption. So it's more like, before I shoot the story, am I connecting with this story? What's the narrative you want to tell? Because you see, in every aspect and in every subject, there are different stories within them. So depending on what you tap, everyone has a sad side and everyone has a happy side. So depending on the stories you want to tell, you can tap into. So for me, I'll always go for general life. Like, how do I see life? How do I perceive that which you're giving to me as a subject? What do I pick from you? So how do I show that? And that's why most of my focus points are always the eyes, because that's where I know it's strongest. Yeah.
To the soul.
Yeah, like if you look at most of my pictures and you look that involve people, for the guys who would understand the focus points, you'll always notice it's one of the eyes or here. That's where I set on the camera. I started on Visco and Snapseed. Yes. Because I didn't have a laptop, remember?
Oh yeah, you started on the phone. Yeah.
Yeah, so Snapseed, you know, doing clarity to 100, HDR modes, you know. I did all that. And then I started now learning, I did design and graphics as a career in school. So when I now started doing Photoshop fully, I didn't pick it up. I picked Illustrator instead. And Corel Draw, because I enjoyed doing logos. And then now when I started doing photos, because already I was scared of Photoshop, I did Lightroom. But now I've transitioned from, now I can use Photoshop, Lightroom, or Capture One. And now Capture One is what I use mostly. My perfectionist syndrome, or that's what I call it, is active, full swing at that moment. I learned and I came up with a style that I feel like works for me so well. I like editing before I shoot. Like, I have a look of what I want before I shoot it in my head. So what happens with that is I have two options. I have the one that I make on ground, which is what I perceived I'd shoot. And then I can go to my desk, and maybe one of my major strengths in photography is coloring, you know, and detailing. So I'll notice if I want this picture to be a bit gloomy, there's a certain edit style I have to apply to it. But if this picture without me editing, can it work? So one of the things I learned, and I was taught by the great photographers back then I was working with, they were like, shoot as if your client is leaving. You don't have time to edit. It's shoot, give the card. If the pictures are not impressive with that, then, but again, as an artist, the reason why we call it art it has processes, right? So for me, I'll shoot something and I'll say this is what I want to achieve with it in my head. I'll go put it on my desk, whichever software I decide to use to edit it, walk away, come back, look at it. Don't do anything, just walk away again. I've done that so many times with even big projects. I'll just leave it, go somewhere and take that image in my head and try start working on what I want to achieve with it in my head. So that when I go back to my desk, it's not the exact, but I can have the direction. I can get the direction. So for me, it's shoot, review, be happy or not happy. But chances are if I'm not happy, I'll shoot it again. And then go back, put it on my desk, on the laptop, walk away, soak it, Because at times we want to end it so quick so that it will, for me, I don't like that. That's why I tell people it's very hard for me to give you your pictures on the same day. I think for me, I want to sit down with your images, just absorb, internalize what I want to do, and then I'll come up with the direction of how I want to edit it. Or do I even want to edit it? Yeah.
So you mentioned that your, should I call them teachers or gurus? The piece of advice I'd given you was you need to make sure that by the time you're when it's done with the shot, it needs to be something that you're able to hand over, so you know the person is leading.
Yeah, that was one of the advices I got. But also again, I got the advice of have time with your work. So it's not even just because you want to hand it over to the client. I picked that as make it so good you don't have to do too much on the laptop. But if you have to do too much on the laptop, again, remember, it's your art. That's how you create it. So for some, it's 90% editing. For some, it's 90% lighting. For others, it's 90% composition. Whatever your 10% is also, it's different. So different creators have different approaches on how they make their work. I think for me, editing plays a very big role because, as I said, I shoot with a final, quote-unquote, final image in mind. So I can decide I'm shooting this on sepia tones, or I'll shoot this and I'll make it a monochrome because I feel like it will tell a better story compared to, when I shot recently when I went for the Mandamano, literally a shot I knew as I'm even taking it, it's a monochrome picture. So I think, and you see with editing, monochromes, which is black and white as we call it, and color. If I take a picture of somebody with a teardrop on color and on monochrome, it's very different emotions out there in the images. So I think editing also helps you bring out that story that you want to tell. So if you're shooting in a dark space, there's a way you need to edit it to look like it's a dark space so that anyone can be absorbed into that creation that you're trying to do. So for me, editing is key. But it doesn't mean, actually, I can't give you pictures without me editing. No, sorry, I can't. Let's not lie there. Yeah, I'll tweak something before I give them to you. Because you see also different projects, different editing. For events, there's a different way you work with color compared to wildlife. Yeah. Photography, videography services, live streams currently, and we do scripts for different brands. Yes. My top 3 favorite artists to work with was, guys, I'm not biased to Sauti Sol, but yes, Sauti Sol, Ali Kiba, and who was the other fun artist that I worked with? Malik Berry. Malik Berry was fun, and us going all the way to Zambia. Him meeting me in a nightclub and booking a flight that same night. That was a highlight, We shot, he's like, who's this guy who shot for me? Let's go with him to Zambia in the afternoons. So that's how I ended up going to Zambia for his tour. I think the 3 for me are those ones. Companies, World Bank, GIZ, on documentary work. Event side, I'd say Sauti Sol, Parrot Group, what was this guy? More Sounds, And on travel, I've worked with Black Stripes, African Travel, which is my own. And what else? Urban. I'm hoping to work with Nike, guys. So Nike, if you're seeing this, I think I'm ready. Or Adidas, I'm not blocking anything. The aspirations, I think, would be seeing how photography has grown over the past, 10 years I've been in it. It's actually very impressive. We have enthusiasts, we have hobbyists, we have people like me who, that's my bread and butter. 8 to 5 for me is photography, and there are people who do it as a side hustle also. And I think my vision and my goal and my hope for the career and the industry in general is we get more platforms in terms of where artists can express themselves. We get to learn how to differentiate enthusiasts, hobbyists, and people who take photography as a career, because what happens at times is nowadays, because there's such a big flood of creators in the photography and video space, you find clients at times they don't know how to pick the actual photographers. And so when they do the job, it's not what they expected. And so at times I also blame the guys taking the job. I'm like, bro, just say you can't do it or outsource. So for me, for the company, it's, I think I want to tell more stories of Africa, of Kenya, where I'm from, to the world, and absorb the world to us also in terms of how they receive our stories, and us being able to literally, what would I say, control our narrative, tell our own stories. For me, the goal is always be able to see the stories that we tell told in the actual truths. I'm not an advocate for poverty pictures, because no. So I think for me, it's ensuring dignity in what we do, ensuring passion, that it's key. This is one of those careers and spaces that you honestly have to be passionate about it for it to be fun. And hoping that more opportunities are open for different people without being blocked or gatekeeping. Yeah. I think it's just we create a space for creators by creators. Yeah. There are things that, of course, every company has its code of ethics and how we operate. Me and my business partner, we have things that we know we cannot be part of, I wouldn't mention, because maybe, who knows, maybe the big bag is there, but we also know, let's say things like pornography. Honestly, I'd not be comfortable shooting that, or anything sexual in that case. I know I'd say no to that, because at times I tell people it's not even nude photography. It's a line I draw, I can't shoot. Yeah, because at the end of the day, as much as I'm doing it, there's an image and a name, and I don't know where these images of this work ends up. So again, for the sake of morality and code of ethics of how we work, we know there are things and clients that we won't politely say we cannot do it, and if we can recommend someone, we will give them to you. Yeah. I like watching movies. I like going for art galleries. I like sitting in the park and reading books. And I like staying alone. I actually enjoy, again, as I told you, I'm an only child, so I think I grew up living alone. My mom used to go for work, come back. When I came to Nairobi when I was 18, I lived with my uncle, and it was just like, we are alone. So I think I've just enjoyed that whole being alone, doing my own thing. So when I'm not shooting, what am I doing? Nowadays, back in the days, I'd say I'd be outside, party and all that. Nowadays, I'm mostly just indoors, trying to read, maybe a book. I'm just trying to cater for my plants and small things, just more wholesome things, yeah. So mostly my creative direction comes especially on video, like just trying to DOP frame, come up with frames, come up with compositions for different clients. Let's say we're doing an interview. My business partner would mostly handle the technical, and he's like, please confirm this frame or this, and I can be able to tell the client, this is what we want you to do. At times it's, you give us your script and we discuss it together, As a creative, you've given me something that you want me to express or interpret for you in my own creative way. So that's where another direction comes. Like, in my own creative way, this is the direction I'd pick. Do we work with it? Clients at times will be like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Or can we integrate this? Can we incorporate this? So yeah. Honestly, at times, It can be the different direction, but the final work just works. Client is happy. At times, I have a saying that if you lock in a client, you should be able to pick their call again. Okay? Once you are done with the project and you feel like there are changes you want to make that we did not understand as creators, it's only fair for us as the creative team now to listen to you and say, okay, this is where we are at. How do we fix this? Because at times also clients are to blame because they give you one script. On shooting, they give you a different script, and then the editing, they're expecting something different. E.g., if you want me to shoot a video for you, one of the things we'll tell you is give us the song prior, because every creator knows that's the bed of everything. So now you're shooting. Recently, we've shot clients like, I don't like the song. Brother. And you can't be unprofessional. But you have to tell them like, hey, this is how we work. So what we can do is how do we integrate these two? Again, if you want us to change the song, this is what would happen. It might change the entire process, the entire video. It might take longer. You get. So also, I think we get directions from clients. We give our directions and ideas. And the only way that I'll always say we live happy is when you two meet in the middle. But at times, some projects are so much fun, clients give you the freedom, but also that comes with, if you've proven your work is good over the time, and this is to the young creators out there, clients will believe you, clients will trust you to take over. But if you're always self-doubting, and then your portfolio maybe is a bit small, some clients want to see what have you done before. That's the rule of the game out here at times. So it's, you listen to the clients as you're growing it, give the client your opinion, because again, we have a habit of, as creators, we can take it, and we're not telling clients, but I think here. So when you're shooting, you're in a mix that you could have actually avoided. Like let's say striped shirts and all that. It's very easy to tell your clients, please don't do that when you're doing an interview. It's going to affect this. But you're just there waiting for the stylist, Now they have striped outfits, you did mention. And you're on set, I start. Again, vibes, and inshallah you shoot it. When you get to post-processing, you'll realize. So it's more like be open, talk to clients, understand what they want, listen to them. And if you can't give it and you can outsource, pay that extra guy. Pay that extra guy, trust me. You're not a machine, you can't do it all by yourself. Oh my God, that project. It had a double homicide. I would call it that way. Because already the project was very, what do I call it? Nilitumika as a creator. Because what I was being paid and what I realized they were doing with the project later on was quite different. And then again, we lost a hard drive. I crashed a hard drive in the middle of it. So that's why I said it's a double, and I don't think I'll take up that project again. Of course, I cannot mention because of client respect and all. Maybe to other people, they're very great. But to me, our working experience wasn't the best. There's another one I shot, and I was taken to court. Somebody reported me to the police. So this is what happened. I did a birthday shoot in a club back then, and I started doing the club things. And then I traveled. That same weekend, I traveled with Malik Berry to Zambia. So this lady texted me like, oh, my pictures. And I said, hey, I told you I'm leaving, but I'll be back on Monday. Then I can give you the pictures. And so we had given the pictures. Actually, it was just a change in the video edit. And she goes like, this is so unprofessional. You should have told me. And I said, I had mentioned it to you prior. So she called the police. When I came back to Nairobi, I'm getting a call. Hi, there's this lady who said she paid you 10,000. So I should tell you when that was. 10,000 shillings, you didn't do this and this. Can you return the money? I'm like, no, this is what I told her. And this is what happened. So back then, remember this is the first police officer we had shot. So I called her. Hi, there's this and this and this happening. She's like, where? I explained. She's like, okay, let me know how it goes. And so I called this lady. I don't know what they told each other, the police officers, because the one who had called me apologizing. I don't know what she was told, and I've never known to date. But she was like, we're so sorry. I think you guys can communicate with your client and you can line up. And by that evening, actually, I was I had planned to give her the video because I was back in Nairobi. So I gave her the video and I told her, don't never approach me for anything, ever. So the project here is not you look back and they're like, I can't take that again. But there are some that you look back, though you can't take that again. Like I learned 1, 2, 3 from that though. So like the other one I learned, hard disks are not to be placed on the laptop with you working on them because they'll slide. Especially if it's a MacBook, can't slide. Well, it's 10 years officially this year. I could have said last year, but this is the year I've done like 10 years officially. And with that, I know in the future there's stuff coming up from coffee books, to exclusive prints and art exhibitions. And yeah, why not a museum, God willing? Like I think I'd want a safe space for creators where they come in, they showcase their work, they let out their frustrations as creators in their own ways, and just like levels. So maybe ground floor it's this purpose, first floor it's this, third floor. As you go up, it just rejuvenates you as a creative. I think that's what I'd want for the goal. But away from that, of course, there are other businesses that I'm trying to get to. From the watch companies. I had a watch company. It's still there. Just need to bring it back to travel. So yeah, tint for the future. Inshallah, God willing. Yeah, there's a lot coming up.
Talk to us about the watch company.
So the watch company is called Charlie. We launched it in 2018-19 before COVID came, and then we had a very big bad loss that took us back. But hey, it's entrepreneurship. You got a ban. But it was a watch inspired by the Kenyan emblem and the Maasai community in a way. And Charlie is it was a collab between us, the Kenyans, and a Ghanaian brand. So we are hoping probably 2025, 2026, we can pick up the baby again. Yeah, but it's a solar powered watch.
So
And we had sold 300 pieces in Kenya exclusive. So even for the guys who have the first collection, we will never make such a collection again. So it was a collector's item. I have one left only, and I can never give it away. Honestly, with how I perceive things, I'd say which one though? Yeah, still with the same client who I lost the hard disks, I think, because how they handled it, they literally belittled my work. And at that point, I was at a point where I was feeling like I'm starting to peak, And then they just come and tell you, you ain't shit. You did 1, 2, 3, you messed up here. You get? And for me, that crushed me. So yeah, I think, making me say it. Yeah, them just crushing me and showing me like I messed up fully, For me, that was a very big L. And for me, being a perfectionist and being the young boy I was back then who cared about what people say, that really crushed me. But I think that would be the biggest one. What would be the other one? I don't think, honestly, I'm grateful that, you see, I'm trying to look for that which I can call a bad L. Because again, I have this perspective of, it's fine, we'll figure it out. It was bad, wasn't the best, There are some decisions I've made that I've lost clients. I'm like, like there's a time I lost a client because somebody else didn't forward folders. And so they blamed it on me because they were bigger in that office than me. So client discontinued the contract. Yeah. Biggest win? There's many. Being who I am as Tintseh, the photographer, I think that's a win for me. With my upbringing and my history. Another win, which I'd say a flex right now, is being able to be there for the people I love, either financially, emotionally, growing to that level. I think that's a big win. But in terms of photography career and the work that I do, directing when did we meet? 2021? Yeah, the 2021 production, Soulfest production, like being in charge of it all. I think for me that was the biggest win because I was scared. When I got that call, I was like, what do you mean? It's been 5 years since we worked together with South Soul, and now they want me to direct an entire show. I'm like, guys, I'm not built for this. And I remember even that Monday after the event, that group chat, guys, you're also content. Look at your background. I was sweating, But for me, that was one big win. The other one would be me transitioning now from the young amateur photographer to guys calling me for big projects, being able to work with, like you're in Ghana, somebody sees you, they're like, oh yeah, I know you, Wizkid is around, do you want to shoot? Yeah, sure. That's a flex. Like, oh, you know me because of Wizkid, so I'm backstage now. I remember after that, I just asked my homies, where are we going, because I had gone for a Nation with the watch company because I was meeting my business partner there. And yeah, that's how I ended up shooting some of the shots at Afro Nation, got some bags, and I remember us going to different clubs that night in Ghana. For the wins, I'd say there's so many, and I'm grateful for that. But the Soul Fest one, I think for me that was one of the biggest wins, followed by my first advert that I did for Visa, and I shot Rudisha, and that was fun, shooting David Rudisha. And yeah, the many artists I've worked with, from Yashinsky, so meeting all these artists in person, and them being real with you as a person, that's a very, because you see there's this persona artists, of course, have to wear, but I'm lucky that with me, I connect with them on a boys level, like Niaje, and that for me is it's a plus. Seeing what photography and the doors it can open for you, and the people it can make you access, because I've met people, like great people, which I don't take for granted. So this was very funny. So back in 2018, when Yashinsky had come back, he wanted a shoot. And again, I was shooting for the biggest group in Kenya then. So if you want good work, you'll go for that guy. We have been told is the one who shoots them. So I get this call, Yashinsky, I'm like, huh? There was this small studio I'd found now I was working with at Wanye. Just took on that Neko Estate. Yes. So I'm bringing these big artists to Wanye Ukondani, And he's like, this is where we're shooting. I'm like, yes. So I remember we shot. He had this Java cap, he's quoted. And then I noticed his chain. So I was like, I always wanted to create those grime gang pictures. So I told him, bite the chain. And Yashinsky looks at me like, excuse me? Like, easy, And I shot it. And then I showed him, and then we were like, wait, we might have created something here. And yeah, that's how. So one day, he sends me a picture of it on our tattoo. And I'm like, wait, what? He picture imeenda hivyo, I'm in Coast, and I see it in front. And I'm like, oh, wow. And so I think, yeah, that's the most iconic picture I think I have so far. Actually, it's on Yashinsky.
Did you expect it to?
Nope. That was the last picture I even expected him to use it. I even didn't think he'd use it, because why am I telling you to bite your chains? But it turned out to be a powerful image. And it's the only image that I have printed on a t-shirt. Post often, be open to collaborative projects. Approach the bigger and the guys who you look up to as a creator. Approach them for any questions that you have. I feel like in Kenya we are very lucky that people don't actually gatekeep information. People can share information with you, and if one does, there's another person who will always know. So post often, ask questions, do your research, and understand the business side of the industry, because that's the business side of the industry, NDAs, contracts, quotations, invoicing. That's the business side, which with our career you learn it, whether you like it or not. Yeah. Now for those who maybe feel stuck and you can access the great people who've done it before you, feel free to reach out. I'm here if you can reach out. like some of these YouTube channels, like the things they teach, let's say for example, for guys who want to learn how to work with DaVinci, you'd go to Black Magic Design, the page. They have an entire course there on how you work around it. Back in the days, we didn't get that. It's finger this button to the end, bring it back, and then decide, you know what, I'll open a YouTube channel and teach people this. But now, even with websites, there are so many websites that you can get your inspiration from, that you can make boards with, Sites like Studio Binder for creators. You can make a whole movie script there. They have even the windows for you to place. I remember even when I shot my first music video, I went online, searched how to do a music video. I checked 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is what I need. This is what I need. This is what you can do. That's it. So I think there's so many resources online, from theory, practical. But again, if I give you all the books and you don't practice, there's nothing you're doing, honestly. So for the upcoming creators, I think learn online, kuja kwa ground, bring some of the rules even you saw online, see what happens. This is the thing I teach people when I'm teaching maybe like the few guys who have taught, because I don't teach people. When editing, I always tell you, if you're new to this, scroll to 100 and back to 0 on that slider. Every slide as you go down, that's how you know what happens at this point. So at 90, you know in clarity for pictures, it's not beautiful anymore, it's not soft. So you can't do 90 and then you dehaze at 40, you look, okay, it looks off. So then you decide, okay, if I clarity at 20 then, and dehaze at 30, what would happen here? You see? So it's more of just DD in Dexter's lab. Press every button, see what happens. You reference? Oh yeah, if you're a Gen Z, I'm pretty sure maybe Sijuka Utailewa your DD and Dexter. I don't know. But yeah, like just be curious. Don't be scared to fail. Go online, ask questions, read stuff, And you don't have to do it like a whole school program. I learned on YouTube in the streets. I've never gone to a photography class at all. So there's more than enough resources out there. Yeah. Headache. In terms of I'd say it's nice headache if there's anything like that. Like it's challenging, and then you have to learn how to listen to everyone's opinion. But you need to understand that you have the final say at the end of the day. If you're the team leader, you have the final word. So also you have to be very clear-minded and open-minded, and don't be biased. Honestly, if you see this person shoots better than this person, just learn how to do it in a way that person B won't feel like you're taking them down. So maybe I'd tell you, I want you to shoot this set, please. And then I'd go and tell photographer X, when so-and-so is working, I'm with you, because I know you can give me this. So also when you're picking the team of photographers under Events and Camera, which is a company now that does that, I'll look at your work mostly, and I'll look at your strengths. And then I see, how do we complement everyone? For Soul First, we had a team of 18 plus photographers, the first one. The second one we reduced a bit. But Shoke the same, we had a big team. So it's more of seeing who is good at what, and then understanding this person is good with the portraits, this person is good with the editing styles, So how do we combine these two elements or more elements for these different creators? So yeah, I think it's listen to everyone, hear them out, hear opinions, encourage people to give their opinions, and also give freedom of creation to these creators. Don't come with a manual, like you must follow this. Just have, these are the deliverables, this is what clients want. We need these stands, we need the food stands, we need this and this. Then rock yourself as a creator. Enjoy. This is what I always say, we handle it differently as creators, yeah? Because for me, maybe in a year, I can say it's a creative block, but out there you're seeing me doing the work and releasing, and you're happy with what I'm releasing. But personally, maybe I'm not. So for me, what I do is I accept, then I go back to my old work at times. I've found myself finding a lot of peace there. And as I do that, I'll try merge my old work with the new work. Try see how I can bring them together. And then I just rest. For me, I rest. I'll do the work if it's commercial work, but creatively, for those who have followed my journey, you've noticed I haven't released a personal project. I have over 12 projects lined up, but of course, again, the creator's perfection syndrome. I have stylists mad at me because I give them a concept and then I just ghost, and now you can't use it. But yes, hopefully this year and the coming one, we start releasing the projects again. Yeah. But for creative blocks, to every creative out there, I'd say, don't fight it. Don't fight it. Listen to what your brain wants to do. Try feed it. See what happens. It's something I've had to develop over learning how just to rest. I think as a creator, I've learned, it's something that I've picked up over the years, from people telling you work too hard, you're always everywhere, I just start realizing, you know what, burnouts are real. And you start learning that at this point when my body feels so this way, like for me, I'll know if I start getting random weird sleeping patterns, I need to rest, insomnia, or maybe I'm being edgy, or on the seat, I'm restless. That's my cue. So I think listening to and knowing your creative process, then seeing where there's a challenge or a block, and at times resting is not planned. Your body can shut down anytime, So it's more like everyone has their own coping mechanism of how they feel they're tired. Because I don't think everyone says, I'm tired, right? You know when to say you're tired. Then listen to that. Because the more you force your body, you will work, yes, but you won't give the maximum output that you can. And at times you have to be selfish with your own time, with your own peace, with your own pace. You gotta be selfish as a creative. My definition of excellence would be the peace that you find that comes with what you've done. Not what you've achieved, what you've done. I think for me that's excellence. Because it's if within yourself you've won and you're fine. You're excellent. Because that's the first person you need to win with, yourself. And so I think my perception of excellence, it's your achievements that you're happy with and you're at peace with. That's excellence. The one I went was at Sankara, and I'll never forget it because it was on my birthday. And I met all my boys. And the memories I have, I'm told, whenever we ended up, we caused a lot of problems to the waiters and everyone there because we were just like, bring. But yes, I've been to a Black Excellence event. Unfortunately, I haven't been to many because of my work also. Like, they just collide. I even remember I asked the team, like, guys, what's happening? But yeah, I've gone for 2 Black Excellence events, yes. But the memorable one was the one on my birthday, my 31st birthday, yeah. That was crazy, yeah.
What was the vibe like?
I was for my wedding. One of my close friends' wedding, where he had said he doesn't want me as a photographer at his wedding, but as a guest. So already, at the wedding, this guy gives a speech and he starts saying it's my birthday. So already I'm like, bro, it's your day. Don't tell people. And that's where it started. And so I remember Frankie calling me, he's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm in Muthaiga. He's like, come to Sankara. I'm like, tickets? He's like, I got your ticket. Come to Sankara. And I remember I got there and the first thing Frankie did was give me your phone. It's going to be a rough ride. And I knew. And then I bumped into Kachero and we started. But yeah, I'm grateful for such, because also you see at such events, there are people who, as much as they know you're there and they know what would happen, they'll take care of you. I knew seeing Kachero there, I knew for sure I'd get home. Because we're on the same route. And Frank is there too on the same route and he has my phone. And yeah, we moved with them throughout the whole night. And yeah, I'm going for more. a godman's. Honestly, I think it's discipline, trusting. For me, I'd always credit a lot of things to God. Because, come on, I've seen people fall off the careers. I don't know how long I'm supposed to be in this. I don't plan that, but over the years, one of the things I've noticed that would keep you always there is client and customer relations. That is very key. Listen to your customers, listen to your clients, listen to even your models and friends around you, and see, how can I improve this? Take criticism positively. Don't be there throwing hands because you've been told I don't like the pictures. Accept. We don't win every day, you know. If we won every day, then it's not winning. It's just life. I think for me, just client, staying in your lane, avoid unnecessary dramas, you know, and stay safe. Because without your gear, it takes you back. Because for some, I've seen them lost gear and they can't come back up because our gear is expensive. So also I think just an all-round being self-aware with your surroundings, with what you do and why you do it, will always keep you afloat. Because most of these creators out there are coming for, oh, I can get money off this. So if the money doesn't come as you expected, you feel defeated. So what's your motive also when you're getting into this, into any careers? What's your motive? That's why I always tell people, passion over the bag. With passion, you'll wake up and do it again. But if you go for the bag and the bag goes missing, that's it. I've listened to Chris Brown. I've listened to Future. I've listened to, who else? Governor and Russian. And I've listened to Black. Oh, and Lucky Day. I've listened to Lucky Day in the past 24 hours. Those are the people I've listened to. And Charisma. I've listened to Charisma in the past. There's a thing with, I'm very happy with the Kenyan music right now where we are. And of course, being somebody who's seen it, well, the small years, the kidogo years I've been in the space, at least I've been able to see artists in studio in the process. And honestly, where we are at, it's beautiful. Like seeing what Kenyans are releasing, you know, from the ladies, Karu, Zinia, and Jerai, like coming to the guys, the Costa guy, Costa Ojuan, Benso, you know, Mutoria, all these guys right now, the music is so good. Like, I have a playlist now of Kenyan music. I didn't have that. I have a full playlist of all this. And so, yeah. Merci to every creator out there. Don't stop.